How do you close the deal where people say yes to you? Watch this entire video to find out. You know, when I began my career in influencing people and getting them to say yes, the most scariest part I remember was closing that deal, because I just didn't know how to do it. I didn't have the confidence to go to somebody and say, okay, I want you to sign right here. I want you to say yes. I want you to pay me right now. It was very difficult. So as a result, I couldn't really close any deals in the beginning, and I really struggled. And so what changed my life was taking a persuasion course, which I teach today, by the way, the same kind of course. But in taking that course, they talked about something called test closing, okay? Now, what is test closing? Well, test closing is based on the idea that the most powerful part of closing the deal is not actually closing the deal. The most powerful part is actually test close. Test close is simply asking a very soft questions. And I'm going to teach you 3 secrets in this video on how to test close. And there are actually 3 types of test close. So the first test close question is an opening test close questions. And by that we mean, like, think of it this way, right? When people are seriously considering to buy your product or your service, they're on a scale, right? Let's say 1 to 10. 10 means they're really hot. They need to buy it right now, right? 1 means they're really cold. They're probably going to reject your offer. While we are presenting our product from the beginning until the end, it is important that you know where they're at. Are they lukewarm? Are they warm? Are they hot? Or are they cold? You need to know that, okay? And the way we do that is we use the test closing question. In persuasion, we don't exactly know what the other person is thinking or feeling. Sure, we read their bodily cues and so on. Their body gives a lot of information about how hot they are. But we use primarily questions to know if they're hot or cold. Now, let's start with secret number 1, the opening test close question, which is one of the most important test close question you will ever learn. Now I'm going to teach you this. It's very, very simple. You simply ask them, how long have you been seriously considering to get X? Let me repeat that. How long have you been seriously considering to get X? You know, if they say, well, I haven't been considering it, well, then you know that they're not a hot prospect. So you're going to need to make sure they're interested in your product. Otherwise, you're going to waste your time. Okay, so simply asking, that would be the opening test close question. A progressive test close question is simply questions that ask them how they feel about it. While you're sharing your product and your service, you're going to ask them, hey, how do you feel about what I'm saying, right? So you're going to ask that throughout the presentation. So you're getting information to know if they're getting hotter along the way, right? Remember, your job is to move them towards hot, right? So they're like almost begging you to buy your product or service. Does that make sense? So consistently throughout your sales presentation, ask them, how do you feel about what I'm saying? And the last one is called the trade-off test close question. Now, what is a trade-off test close question? It's simply a question that if they say yes to, pretty much you can move towards the close. Okay, now that one's a little bit more complicated, so we teach that in our persuasion courses, so you're welcome to contact us about that. And of course, there's a lot to know about how to do the test closing questions, but let me give you at least a little bit of a clue on the trade-off test question. It's basically a question where you would ask them something like this. In your opinion, do you feel it's worth an investment of, let's say for this persuasion mastery course, do you feel it's worth an investment of 100,000 baht in order for you to double your income? So it's a trade-off. Is it worth the cost of the product or service in order to get that? Now, depending on the product and service that you sell, you may change the trade-off question. That's why I said you probably need to learn more about this. But if they say yes, then you know that, okay, now you can go down to the close. So that's why I think that when salespeople say, you know, closing is the most powerful part of the sale, I disagree. It's not closing, it's test closing. So if you like this video, go ahead and share it, because when you're sharing this video, you're helping somebody else make more income. So share this video now.